Hello, welcome back to TC3. I am joined today with Riley and Soev. How are we all doing today?
It's beautiful. I mean, I've not. This is my first TFT LAN, and the energy here has been insane. Game 1 was insane. I mean, you know better than I, Riley, though. But this feels like this is going to be a long, enjoyable day.
Oh yeah, it's exactly how it was last time at the last two Tactician Crown lands. The TC2 especially when we were here, the first time that like a lot of big names in the scene had gathered together, and the energy was just electric. Now even more so, we've got guys like Bosso Skills and Stellar Minhee that came all the way down from Canada just to play in this event.
Absolutely
so it's just
insane.
even more big names that are known like in the Riot tournament scene, and they're all just in this LAN center in New Jersey. It's
Just
wild.
all gathered in one
Yeah.
area.
Yeah.
It's very rare seeing a TFT land in this like title. I would say.
Yeah.
You don't see very
I'd agree
many
with you.
LAN tournaments.
It's
like,
basically just this and Summit.
basically
That's
yeah,
all that's
and,
happened really. Yeah.
And we're gonna try to make this a summit style, you know?
Yeah.
We-
We'll
we-
have
once
people
in a-
dropping out
yeah,
and out
we'll-
later.
We'll try to get like players dropping in, say a few words, and then we just boot them out, get them out back into their own space.
Let's jump to the scores since we're just
yes.
looking at, like, if you just joined us, you missed round 1. But here's just a quick look at everybody's where they place, where they rank to come into it. Remember, top 8 eventually will end up in the final round. But I mean, this is to be expected. A lot of these names, Gachagam, Shen, Bosso, like Voitson, a lot of these are the top 8. These are the names we expected to see here, I think.
And we got Voitson, the defending champion of
That's
TC2,
true. Yeah.
coming back to defend his crown for TC3.
You got the defending champion before that on the desk right now.
Oh,
That's true, too. That's
That
true,
is
too.
true. We have
Champions
the TC1.
abound.
We have our
it's
TC1
exactly,
champion.
Yeah. But I think on the opposite ends, so kind of what we're looking at coming out of game 1 is all the like favorites, or we're looking at them more or less in like the top 4. It is just one game, and with how stacked these lobbies are, they're going to just be shooting
Definitely,
for like top
yeah,
4.
yeah. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
But just a couple of names I'm pointing out that did not top 4, and in fact more in the 7th and 8th place. I'm Jack and Kevisho, who are two players who pop around the Riot tourneys, pop around. I believe Kevisho has played in mid-set before, and him getting in 8th place is a little bit out of the ordinary and not exactly what you want to see as a start.
Yeah, I agree. Like, that's like a name that has made it that far in the past coming in here. I think that speaks to the quality of players, though, really.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
when you
Oh,
look at
yeah.
this lobbies, like, for someone who is that well-equipped to play and do well to come that low, is a bit of a shocker, but there's still plenty of games to be had. A couple other names from previous 1 and 2s, we were talking about Dim Dan, who had been here, Whale of Peace, who's come through, those kinds of middle tiers who have seen this environment before. They might be kind of dark horses in some ways because, this is a different environment. LAN is a whole different place, and sometimes nerves can take you over here.
Definitely nerves being a big factor, especially with people running around. We have
Oh,
seen
yeah.
some people doing IRL scouting. Instead
Yeah.
of pressing Q and E on your keyboard just to scout around the board,
Yeah.
you could just get out of your chair, go walk around. It's a good exercise too,
Oh, yeah.
There's some strategies developing here in LAN.
There is, and I think they said we're going to be over in Lobby C, and this is a pretty impressive lobby.
Yes.
Riley, who do we have in Lobby C coming up here?
Yeah, the notable names, we do have Ramkev and Appies. I get to cast my Triforce Tactics boys on land. It's going to be so
This
hype.
is going to be incredible.
But also,
Really good.
Kevisho, having gotten 8th, he got seeded into this lobby, and that's going to make it just that little bit more stacked. If he bounces back and has a good performance this game, that's going to make this lobby really competitive at the top.
Yep, and we all know GB Spartan, a.k.a. Ramkev.
Yeah.
We all know how he is in LAN. If you've seen him in the Tactician's Crown 2, he did a lot of popping off. I have no idea if it picked up on the microphone at the time, but
I'm pretty sure it did.
You can't miss it.
that was during the Dragon. So every time he got an out shin, he was absolutely screaming. I remember one time he was trying to find a Silas 2-star, and he could not find it, and he was just losing his mind. So hopefully we see more of that.
There's definitely a lot of characters in this pool, so definitely expecting to see a lot of these different styles
I'm
clash.
excited.
And I mean, given from what we saw from these previous sets and the previous thing, I think we can all kind of know what has grown in power and what's kind of changed over these last patch sets, which is kind of cool to see because we were watching Underground, we were watching a lot of that, and seeing Gadgetines and Aegis kind of come through at the top is really an interesting kind of combination of sets that I haven't really expected to see, I think, come out.
Definitely a lot more flexibility around
Yeah.
this time in the meta. I'm not sure if Protroid and CLE really did cover that meta. We are seeing a little bit more AP composition coming back with the nerfs to like Giant Slayer a while back and other nerfs to AD champions. And we're going to see how this shapes up. Once again, this is game number 2. Anything can happen, and we have just left the first carousel, and we are off into PvE rounds.
I will say, I've been talking to some of these guys, just like trying to get my own kind of meta read, because I've been in Paris, so I've not been playing the game this patch at all. None of them have really been playing either. They've all pivoted to PvE, so they're kind of making up their own meta as they go.
Is that a Ramkev pop
Already? And
already?
this early?
It's literally round 1.
Yeah, he's
Oh no!
What did he literally do?
Oh no!
he-
We need to cut to Ramkev right now.
Please
I
give
mean,
us
I
this
need to
man's
see what's
view.
going on.
I can like see his screen, and there was the little admin thing at the bottom. So I think he hit a good admin.
Okay.
I think
Maybe.
he might have hit an admin.
That'll hopefully be it. I mean, an early admin, especially if it's a good add-on, will get you a lot of distance out of this, and even still, you can see it holding on to Blitzcrank, possibly looking at brawlers just by showing this, like eyeing the brawler supers, like both really big, strong, bulky comps, especially in the early if you can come into the pieces you need.
I really do want to see Appies. Oh. He's
That's-
mentioned it before. His mouse is currently broken at the moment. So for I think at any like random time, it just randomly pings people. I think it's funny.
Hey,
I think it's hilarious.
forced BM.
He's
I'm
also-
totally okay with that.
He's also got 2 hearts already and 2 out of the 3 supers. It could be a super Yumi angle.
Yeah, I mean, that would be an interesting take. It would require a little bit of aggressive re-rolling, which, given how late some of these lobbies can go, it does require a little bit more focus out of it. And I mean, the items don't really necessarily look like they give you much right off the top for it, but these augments may tell us a different story.
Here we go. Already champion augments for the first augment, actually.
Ooh,
We'll see. Ooh,
gets
cleansing
the cleansing safeguard.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Is a very popular one. Unfortunately, the mana lock doesn't work anymore. Unfortunately, but he's got the Guardians.
Is he gonna go?
Okay, takes the.
He is gonna go
interesting-
flaming
Yeah,
ricochet.
he will go flaming
interesting.
ricochet just to finish off that super.
Yeah, it's going to be a supers. Yeah.
Yeah, and he might go for this Gangplank reroll. Yeah, he's gonna go put the Hand of Justice on with only the 1 copy of Gangplank. He hit a Gangplank in earlier shot that I don't think he held. So just a 1 copy of Gangplank for now. He types no one reroll, please. So yeah, I think he's gonna be going for this 1 cost reroll.
Yeah.
Opted for that over the Lee Sin or Malphite augments. He had the Yumi angle available. The items don't necessarily scream it, but the bow can be the Titan's Resolve for Neela. Tear is obviously a Yumi item. And the glove can go into like a Jewel Gauntlet or a Hand of Justice.
He technically had 1/2 of almost the best in slots items for Yumi. He had the
Yeah,
tier.
or
Yeah, he was
could
pretty
have
close.
been
Giant Slayer too.
Giant
yeah,
Slayer could have
there,
been
yeah.
it. Blue buff could have been a possible option for him as well. But
I
for
mean,
now, he will stick with that supers. He could develop that composition into something else.
I don't hate that look though, especially because
Yeah.
as he peeked around, like nobody's really eyeing that right now. And if that's something that you think you have a pretty good lead into, you have 3 already. Now it just becomes finding the pieces. I do think that it is something you can kind of push and force. And yeah, he's looking around. Nobody's looking for it. You can kind of see the Vise that we expect to see start popping up. So I think this is a little bit of a unique angle that might work out in their favor.
Yeah, we'll see what Appies works with for the time being. He is going to be possibly riding a lost streak for now, just to have a general idea of what he wants to work with. He does have 2 Lee Sins, 2 Malphites, but needs to look for that all-important Gangplank if he wants to at least have a chance of either minimizing losses or just riding that win streak.
Unfortunate that he did hit Philip here, who has a super weak board with the Renekton augment. Looks like he's going to be going for a reroll angle himself. Appies at least will be able to make 10 here, but considering how weak his board is, unless he hits one of these 2-cost pairs, it'll probably result in his 5 loss streak getting broken here, which is going to cripple his economy, which he needs that desperately to be able to reroll this.
I mean, the 2 ashes on the other side also kind of signals to me maybe where they're looking at recons. Maybe we're like, because that was one we didn't see a lot of on these early boards. It's not the strongest comp, but if it is wide open and you're not really being contested, that's an option.
He hits the Neela.
Hits the
Okay,
Neela.
that's
That
really
is
important.
huge.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's so big.
Also, I'm messed up. He does still have the orb from the Gangplank augment. He did pick up the Gangplank before, just to have that supers angle available. But as we poke around the lobby, it's about half and half between players who picked reroll augments and players who picked like the Vi augment basically.
Wait.
LGVer, I will find you.
Oh no!
The funny thing is, we're on land, so he actually could
find
them.
them. He actually could find
he
them.
could literally find them.
He could literally hunt him down.
He's literally-
Oh,
okay.
We got some spicy.
Sure.
Yeah, we got some
We got
Draven.
something spicy here. We got a reroll Draven coming in.
Yeah, we got some Draven.
Okay.
There was.
Wait, but the
what
Flaming
else did we
Ricochet.
have? Yeah.
Ooh.
Flamer actually getting a lot of value out of it. I mean, it was a
SpicyAppies
good
needs
choice,
to
yeah.
win this, and
Okay,
he
he
will.
won.
He will get that. He will get that 1 extra gold.
That's
off the
hey,
win streak.
every goal matters, especially
Yeah.
on this win streak starting up. I don't think they were expecting to hit the win streak, but it's you're already committed to it. You might as well now commit
Might
to
as
it
well,
and just
yeah.
go in. Yeah, like if it's working in your favor, take it and roll.
Yeah, he does have to stay on level 4, so I don't know if he's going to be able to continue this win streak all the way into neutrals. It might just end up being 2 loss for now, but his economy isn't in the worst spot, and him able to preserve health on 2 rounds. He's at 94 right now. Even if he takes two 5-unit losses, he's going to be at 76 HP, which is not a bad position to be in as long as you have a good economy to back it up in order to reroll.
And here we go. We got the Ramkev POV. I think I saw him run this very
Renegade.
similar
He did.
comp. Yeah, he went
Yeah.
the,
He
the
went-
admin Renegade.
He went
Yeah.
this exact
This exact
It's
comp
thing.
last game.
It's such a strong comp though, because when you really get the Renegade front line up and moving, it just powers them up so much. And as long as you have a good admin to go along with
Look
it,
at that.
there's just so much.
And he
Yeah,
gets 3
finding the
poppies.
two, yeah, that's
And he also
insane.
gets 3 poppies.
Yeah, this is a great board state. Ram is just primed right now to ride this out on a win streak and just turn this right around if they
He
want.
definitely.
He
I
can't.
wonder- I
He
wonder
can't
what
buy
the
the
ad-
poppies.
I wonder what.
No,
the
there's no
admin-
reason.
Yeah,
They
but
don't do
it
anything.
costs you economy. I have been informed the admin is on ally death gain AD.
Oh
So
wow!
this is going to be a hard
that is
hitting
dirty.
Camille.
Wow,
That is dirty.
That Camille's a
On
threat
top of the
now.
Renegade bonus? That's
Yeah,
insane.
that's really good. That Camille is the biggest carry right now on board, and
We'll
I
see.
expect
We'll
to
see
it
it
pop
in
off.
action. We'll see. Oh,
Spell. Okay.
so far so good. But he did go for the Blitzcrank Augment, where with the Gargoyles enables him to keep his damage reduction a lot more uptime. But right now, Ramkev, he's doing a lot of work. It's not just him; it's also the
Look.
other Renegade, the Talon. You got to pay attention to that. And oh my God,
That's a
this
nice
is-
augment. It kept Blitzcrank along forever, but everybody just walked around him. Like, what do you want to do about that? When Blitzcrank's a great wall, but if you just bypass him, it doesn't matter. So, yeah, again, like this Camille is really the threat that I'm keeping an eye on, especially given that you have the power
And he
of
hit the
augment to it.
2-star
Yeah.
at level 5.
It's just so
Yeah,
big.
so
like
that's-
already,
that's
and is looking for the
that's
like.
insane.
You're just waiting for the 4th admin to show up because by that point your board just looks really good. You come into your later Renegades and the game just turns around.
I need to correct. He got that at level 4. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He
Oh,
just
yeah.
he got that at
he
four.
had
just
it on
hit level
2-3.
5.
Yeah, exactly.
He hit that at level,
Level 4. That's huge.
What kind of luck do you need to get that?
Uh,
What?
That's,
How?
that's land luck, baby.
Land
That's
buff.
the way
The
land
land
luck.
luck.
Land buff, baby.
That's land buff.
Land
That's
buff.
just land buff.
It's the land buff. I swear. He's not going to be complaining about finding a unit anytime soon. We'll
Not
see how he does though against Zigzag. Running a somewhat of a duelist comps for now. Could be flexed into something else. Those Kale items could go onto like something like a Samira, if I were to assume anything. For now, he will ride that loss streak. I don't know if he has underground going. It doesn't seem like he does.
No, I don't think that's really available. It looks like they could be eyeing even like recons from that point. Maybe even possibly just like aces if you really come into it. But it's just a really, that seems like a fluxy board state where it's just like, we're not really sure what's available. We just know we have some decent pieces and we'll make the best of it.
Yeah, there's always a Z angle in there, although last Whisper with him going to the back line, it doesn't get quite as much value. You
Yeah.
want more just like raw damage, not necessarily the armor shred. But if he has that option open, the last Whisper probably points more towards the sure shots, the Samira, the Aphelios potential, especially with the boxing lessons augment and Vi just that Vi
That's tanky.
being just it's
It's
a
so
lot
tanky,
of good
yeah.
frontline to the entire board, and Vi is also just such a flexible frontline unit. You have that frontline you want to go for,
Yeah.
the Aegis Brawler frontline with the Sedge and the Echo to accompany that. But that frontline is so generic. You can play so many carries behind it. You can play the sure shots. You can play Zed. You can maybe even play duelists if you hit like a Vayne 2 or something. You have a lot of options with that frontline. It's probably the most flexible frontline in the game right now, besides like threats with the Zac.
I was saying, and let's talk about the threats that you can put behind that. You can put Belbeth behind that. You can
Oh,
put
yeah,
any
that
number of
too,
things.
exactly.
Like
Yeah,
there's so many
Belbeth.
different things you could even put behind that from just kind of throw-in moments. Threats, as you know, has like been a key moment to this like entire set, but also have just stood alone in a lot of boards. Like you can just build a bunch of threats and just win games on that in the lower lengths. So really, like any threat can just pop into anything, and that I wouldn't be shocked if they just decide to opt into that later.
Oh boy, is that the SpicyAppies 1v1? Here we
Ooh,
go.
sure is.
Perfect timing for that. Ramkev versus SpicyAppies. Here we go. He does. Appies did find that 2-star game plank, which is very good. Very good for him. We'll see what happens. Oh, okay.
No, it's over.
Oh, okay.
It's over.
Oh, okay.
And it's gone.
Okay. I tried to build it up, man.
No.
I tried. But then, you know, Camille
How
W.
do you beat this like strong 2-star front line across the board? Like that's just such a strong board state, especially when you're trying to build into supers and your gangplank is what you're looking for. That's just such a rough board state to come up against.
All right, we're moving on to Tetravoltex's POV. Does win against Zigzag. We've only seen Zigzag lose.
I mean, that's a
Kind
6
of
win streak
unfortunate.
now?
Yeah,
That's huge.
6 win streak. Mr. 100 for the time being.
Off the Brawler front line, we go into the second augment.
Grab bag
Goes
immediately.
straight for
Grab
grab
bag
bag.
on site.
Immediately.
No
is so
bows,
good.
unfortunately. It looks like he is
There's
going for
one,
the Jax
yeah.
angle, but he does have the one bow. He was probably hoping to pull another one from the
Yeah.
grab bag. Did not, unfortunately, but he was able to pull a Bloodthirster, which is another one of those really good Jax items. He could always opt to tech that in there. Kind of looking at that, looking at his
Thinking of what to
options.
do.
He doesn't have to commit Jax, honestly. Like, he just has the one Jax other than that,
Yeah.
and the one bow. Other than that, he just has a bunch of pretty flexible
There's a
options.
lot of different. Yeah.
There's a lot of angles.
Yeah, Jax could go for like a Titans BT combo. Some other options as well. Giant Slayer is also a valid option as well.
Yeah, it looks like he will.
Interesting Giant Slayer slam. I think that indicates he's not actually going to go fully
Yeah, he's not
for
sold.
Jax. Yeah.
Yeah.
That reads as like this is fine for now.
For
and
now.
and
Yeah,
we'll
use
deal
it
with
as an
that
item
answer when we cross
carrier.
that bridge.
I will.
Yeah.
This may change.
Yeah, I can be swayed into this, and I think like this win streak continues to be that swaying point because right now like he is pulling ahead in these fights, but now that you're coming up with some stronger, more sturdier front lines, this might be the question of is this Jax really worth committing to?
Yeah, and if he was committing to his Jax, he would not have slammed the Giant Slayer.
Yeah.
If he was going to slam an item, it probably would have been the Bloodthirster.
Uh-oh.
And just save
Yeah,
the bow
see?
for Rapid Fire Cannon, which is such an important item for Jax. But because he didn't slam that, slammed the Giant Slayer instead, it signals he's trying to keep his options open.
Jason
But
might spoil
Jason,
this.
yeah.
Yep, he's
Yeah,
gonna
it's
spoil
over.
the Mr.
Wasn't
100.
good enough.
There it is.
There we go.
I
And
mean,
that's going to be the first loss for.
that's the thing about this, right? Like you can have a strong brawler front line, but if you have no essential carry, if your carry isn't up to snuff to really put in the work, you just have kind of a bunch of stall in a lot of ways, and it's a shame because when you're kind of staring at this and going, what do I really want to commit to? I don't want to commit this econ down. I'm still not quite where I want to be. It is a little bit of a tough situation to be in, so we'll have to check in down that on the
Now
line.
we're going to see Zigzag trying to salvage what he can. Has the double dart 3 costs. Actually has 2 Ramesses too as
Two
well.
Rams, yeah.
And he does have, I believe, yeah, the Vi augment on top of the Jeweled Lotus.
Yeah.
Give everyone that little bit of extra damage in the chance they do crit off their abilities.
Just
And it's looking at doing a lot of work.
It is getting in there. I'm still kind of curious, though, because a lot of this lineup and these threats don't necessarily look like they're going to get the full value from that. So that's very interesting to see that. Just to see that. I assume that's for something down the line more so.
Yeah, keeping his options open for sure. He has a strong front line with the Ramesses, has a Vi 2, the boxing lessons to make them all tankier as well. Jason taking a hit off him.
He's going win-loss. It's not looking so hot for Zigzag, especially when his win streak isn't going one way or the other. It's going to tank his economy quite a bit.
But looking at the board state, it also seems like he doesn't necessarily know what to do with it in a lot of ways. It seems like he has some ideas of what he wants to do, but just hasn't quite developed it. Maybe just waiting for something to show up and really kind of be a little bit of inspiration. But I mean, 2 duelists isn't enough of a bonus. Even the threats that he has, like they're good frontline threats, but they really don't win games on their own. The Yasuo 2 is like a great add-on, but there's nothing really that screams like I have a win condition here yet, and I think we're building towards it.
Yeah, and I think there is kind of a pitfall to maybe being a little too flexible. You
Yeah.
oh, I want to keep all my options open, which yes, ideally, quote unquote, is how you want to play TFT. But that's like that's more like the highest level of like you think Mismatch Socks, who's very well known for doing that, just keeping all his options open. But a lot of players this set especially are looking more at the style of like I'm going to find the line I want to play as soon as possible and just commit to it.
Oh, yeah.
And so maybe just keeping himself a little bit too open is making Zigzag just a little bit dizzy right now.
Yeah,
That's entirely possible.
We're gonna, and then now we moved on to Jason's POV, the one who spoiled Tetra's Mr. 100 a run. Now on fire himself with a 4-win streak. And now he's up against Spartan. Ramkev. He's looked very strong. We've seen his board in action before, but can it win this time against Jason? So far so good. The Hodge doing a lot of work, but can he get the takedown onto the Talon in time? Yes, he will. Uh-oh. The LeBlanc stays alive.
Blitzcrank still up, though. Blitzcrank still holding
Tactical
strong.
sweep. Oh, that doesn't do much. The damage reduction coming from the Blitzcrank is way too much here. And will it be enough?
Yeah.
Nope. Not a chance. That LeBlanc should have been taken out, but the Talon just didn't have enough damage.
I mean, the heart does so much in regards to just survivability in a lot of ways here. Okay.
He could move on to the Aurelian Soul on his board or on his shop. Does he commit?
I can hear Ramkev yelling about his 4 admin options. I don't. It sounds like he's not too happy.
Here it is.
Okay.
15 permanent health, absolutely. Oh, this is such a great board. It's a great spot to be
15
in.
perma health per ally. Uh-oh.
And then
No,
just immediately gives it up.
yeah,
Yeah, there's
he's
no
not-
reason not to.
it's
Everything
not-
else came through.
It's not quite good enough, and ideally with this Camille board, you want to be
Yeah.
running Hacker, get her into the back line. It's what he did last game, and it was what he was running in the last fight. Unfortunately, it didn't work out because the Camille did end up on the wrong side.
Yeah.
Does end up on the wrong side here, too. Does not get onto the Kale, and Talon isn't going to have quite enough damage to deal with that Kale. Running into a
that's a
level
shame.
7.
That's unlucky.
Yeah, that's just a little bit
But
unlucky.
on
He
the
gets
Brats,
absolutely
he's gonna get hit hard. 13 HP.
Oof,
But it's
yeah.
okay. 4 loss streak. It's okay.
Yeah, your loss
Yeah,
streaking, you'll take that. Your econ's still in good shape, and there's still plenty to be had. You also did just make that big, great change, right? Like you kind of needed to make some sort of a change as you're loss streaking and just decide, like, well, look, I have to swing this back. Let's just make a wholesale change, bring it in. At some point, maybe even get rid of the Renegade, just because unless you get the full 6, it's kind of a rough augment for like out of early game.
Yeah, and it is a bit worrisome that he went for loss in this stage. When you're doing this 2-cost
Yeah.
reroll, generally you want to be strong through stage 3. Maybe even, like, it's kind of 50-50 in stage 4 how strong you are, but you don't want to be bleeding out too much before you hit the 3-star 2-cost. And him bleeding out already in stage 3 is not a great sign.
Definitely very concerning.
Yeah. Especially down at fallen so far. He's
got-
down at 7th right now. That's a rough spot to be in psychological.
He's got some really good frontline items to work with, though. That might turn the tide into his favor. See what he does to work with it.
Interesting.
Not hitting that many Camille's right now. Does have 6 Talons and 6
Yeah,
Silas's.
A little bit unlucky.
Yeah, he's close. You can see it. The panic is like, is this a point where I just need to give up and roll down? Do I just need to, how do I like balance out my front line a little
He
bit?
is going
And he's
to-
a good start.
He is going to add the ZZ Route portal just to add that extra front line. See if he can find any sort of way to get this Camille just to buy time for this Camille to start pumping out damage.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is true, but does the Void Link count as an
Yes.
extra ally? Yes.
believe it does,
yeah.
I would assume so. Yes. Which just gives Camille.
That's enough.
It's extra AD. Yeah.
That's enough to do it. Sometimes just having the extra player on board is just all it takes, even if it's
It's the
just a little
micro.
spawn
It's
lane.
the micro plays. It's
Yeah.
the micro.
Well, that's what stands out as these top players in
Yeah.
the brackets. Like that's what makes these players.
They
those
know
those things.
They know the interactions. They know what they're working with, and they use it to their advantage. And with that, Ramkev, slowly but surely, just patching up the bleeding. Oh,
Third
nice
augment?
edge would be
Ooh,
so
nice
good.
Nice edge would be
here.
very strong. Yeah.
But the
Ooh.
grab bag
Grab
is
bag.
also very good as well. He's thinking.
Yeah,
and he's going to go for the grab bag.
I mean, we were talking about that augment in the prior to our coming onto this cast about how most of the win percentages have come
Oh.
from
He
that.
hit
That's
Infinity
dirty.
Edge. That is so dirty,
Oh.
especially with all the AD that Camille's gonna have from Titan's Resolve
Yeah,
and
that's huge.
the admin.
That's
yeah.
huge.
Infinity
Oh,
Edge is
gosh.
about. He already had the glove on board, so hitting that BF off component grab bag was pretty much the best
That's
item
it.
he could get.
Yeah.
Yeah, and thinking about it even more, grab bag is probably the better option. If you did go for the nice edge, it would limit Camille's positioning. It would also limit his front line's position as well. But if you go for the grab bag,
It's just
he
flexibility.
has so much more flexible. He even has an item reroll.
Yeah, if
He
needs
could
it.
have used that if he didn't get anything he wanted. And in terms of looking at like which is the better percentage play, he chooses correctly.
Yeah.
I think.
No, I agree with you. I think that was the right choice, especially now that Camille is just comfortably in the back lines, just getting stuns off and just ripping through. Yeah, that's
Ooh,
that's
he doesn't
so
even get
important.
stunned by Sedge. Ooh, oh wait.
Oh no, it avoids it.
Wait, but the shield and the Omni Vamp. Is it enough? It looks like it might be.
It should be enough.
Yeah, it's just a Zoe.
Wow.
It's just a Zoe.
Imagine if that was a 3-star.
Oh,
Imagine.
once that gets a 3-star, this is going to be Spartan's going to be in an interesting spot to just close this out. But still has to
He's
come his way back up. He's back into 4 now, so that's a good spot for him to
Yeah,
be at
he's
50.
even got the Hextech Retribution with the Renegade. An insane combo.
I mean, so here's what I'm staring at: is there's still 2 items on board plus the reroll. Like, what are you really holding onto that reroll for? I guess it's just because you still have some places to go. You still have some carousels to see. Like, maybe you even try to find something to support your front line a little bit harder with it because you do have a vest. Maybe you just try to move that tier. I don't know that like you want blue buff for Zoe, but I just wonder. Like, I guess we're just waiting on flexibility reasons
Yeah, it could
here.
be a blue buff for Zoe. It could be a hand of justice for the LeBlanc as well.
Yeah.
And also, really, there's no reason to use the Reforger right now. Like
you're
you
not
have
necessarily
a strong
dying
board
for it.
anyway. You just keep your options open. Once you get to the final round of item drops, then you can decide, hey, what do I want to use this on? What am I fishing for? Am I fishing for more backline items? Am I fishing for more frontline?
We'll see as he goes up against Kevizo. Kevizo, he didn't have the greatest game number 1. Game number 2 is looking a little bit better, but he does take a loss.
Yeah, Ramkev bouncing back very
Yeah.
nicely from that rough stage 3. And this actually happens sometimes. This is something I found spamming Talon in set 6.
Oh, boy.
You'd roll down, you'd hit all your units, but you just don't have the items to support the comp.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you just don't have that strong of a board. You take a bunch of losses in stage 3, but then now Ramkev stage 4 has hit his items. He has found some good frontline items, has found the 3rd carry item for Camille, allowing her to really pop off in
He's
these
eyeing the
fights.
hand of justice.
Hands there. Yep, it's up.
Yep, and he's got it.
So now he's committed onto that. All right. Yeah, I think that's the good read. And like you said, Riley, just being able to like bounce back from that, falling into 4th at that carousel still helps you get those points and get those things you need. Like finding that glove was exactly what they're looking for, so they'll have it. And now their board stage is looking really, really strong.
Jason looks like he just recently rolled all the way down.
Yeah,
For now,
his economy
Sitting-
kind of
yeah.
rough.
a little bit rough, but he's got that 4 admin. We'll see. We're not entirely too sure what that is, but
That's an interesting Draven
that
3.
ooh.
Day left. Okay.
Day left. He's sitting at 2 HP. He's not looking so hot. He does have the He has gotten the
supers.
super heart. Yeah.
Yeah, he hits supers, but he doesn't have a lot of 3s to go with it. So the boost is probably not where it needs to be,
We'll
especially
see if
seeing
it's
the
enough.
HP.
There's that is a very hard composition to go by. Tetra with the 2-star Soraka at level 7.
Oof.
Here we go. Does he stay alive here? The Draven ulti only goes onto the 1. That might cost him a little bit. And is there just enough enough damage?
I mean,
It
they're in
doesn't
line.
seem- It's looking good. It's looking good. But the Draven ulti gonna get sidestepped by the Zoe, and it's all up to the Soraka. Is it enough?
It's over.
Oh no,
It's
GG.
over. It's over.
cutscene!
And he gets cutscened.
Oh, that's tragic.
Very
Yeah.
tragic.
Just a rough Draven board, honestly.
Yeah.
Had the Jeweled Gauntlet on board, so like his spells were critting, but that's the Jeweled Gauntlet giving the AP rather than the Infinity Edge, which you really want on the Draven. It looks like he slammed that just to save some HP and stay alive, even though it was just completely not ideal. I do also want to point out he had his frontline items on a 2-star Lee Sin when he had the 3-star Malphite as his ultra upgraded frontline tank.
Yeah.
So just not ideal items, also being down in HP, just leading to an 8th right there.
Yeah. It seemed like just the things never really planned out, maybe just never really found what they were looking for by the time they got the supers together. But Tetra Vortex in a little bit of a better spot here, still fighting for their life now. Again, just sitting on 3A, just looking pretty strong. They looks like they should be able to carry this fight through, hopefully.
He's in a very comfortable spot, especially with that 2-star Soraka. Just look at that damage. I wonder if the 4 admin the 4 admin obviously definitely is playing a factor in this, but we'll see. It's getting a little close though. Oh, never mind. There goes the Renekton. I think that's going to be a very comfortable second win in a row for Tetra, and he's slowly making his way back. as is everyone else.
Yeah, now we're at the point where this is where a lot of these flexibility decisions pay off, right? We see the units we're looking to find. We're looking for our 4-star carries, or we're building our 3-star carries a little further. So, I mean, with this board state, it looks pretty solid. The Vi just doesn't even really need items, just given the augment attached to it. This is a very interesting board state. I think, like, what do you need to change here, Riley, to really just take it to the next level?
Honestly, it's just finding the upgrades at this point, especially the frontline upgrades. His only upgrade frontliner is the Vi, which is decent frontline, but it's not like amazing. He did hit upgrades on his backline carries, hitting a Soraka 2 on level 7, being a little bit of a high roll.
Look at all these tank items.
A lot
That's
of tank
so
items coming in.
good.
There's a Warmogs, there's a second Bramble Vest, which probably isn't going to come through. We'll see what pops up out of this.
I mean, that gives you a Sunfire if you want it to.
What's
Plus
that?
some
Sunfire,
Warmogs.
Warmogs.
Yeah, that's huge too.
Sunfire Warmogs Locket. It looked,
A
Oh,
double
Bramble Vest.
Bramble. Okay, we're expecting to really beef down then. Okay. I mean, that's a lot of armor bonus, but I don't know that I want that on.
Yeah, he didn't want to do that. I mean, he was Morello Bramble over Locket Sunfire makes no sense.
Yeah, that makes
because
sense.
The Sunfire just it's additional tanky items. he said me out of chat. Yeah,
Yep. He knows it.
And the Locket Slam would have also just provided even more frontline when he was lacking in that frontline, buying time for the Soraka. So yeah, a bit of an unfortunate mistake there.
It's a little bit unfortunate. Yeah, we're gonna ignore it. We're gonna go on to Ramkev's POV right now. Still sitting on that 2-star Camille. He is one away though. He's one
really
away
close,
from that 3-star Camille.
I mean, he's also one off from the other 3-star there in the front line, and that's huge too.
Alistar.
Yeah, Alistar's almost there too.
3, and he also had a Talon 3, which has Ionic Spark, Hand Justice, Sunfire. So that Talon's also doing a lot of work.
That Talon's putting in work. You have to be thrilled about that.
You have to be.
And he hit Silas 3. He hit
Wow.
everything 3-star this game.
We gotta listen for. We gotta listen. Oh, okay.
There it is.
Oh, that was a little underwhelming.
That was a little
underwhelming.
Look, obviously I think that speaks to how like he's excited, but he's not clearly out of the blue yet. I think he realizes that in some ways. You're sitting at 4, you're not fully comfortable.
He knows where he is right now.
Yeah, you know that sometimes like that's a victory, but that's not the biggest victory we're looking for. I think this is still a great board state.
It's still a great board. It's possible that he does win this lobby, but he's got a lot of work ahead of him. He has a long path just to try to get through everyone else's composition, especially that 2-star Soraka we keep talking about.
I did also see Philip hit a Jax 3, so that's going to put him in contention for this lobby. Jax is a composition that was pretty popular last patch, and it even got buffs going into this patch. Brawler got buffed. There's even more tankiness on the Jax boards. He didn't see any nerfs. He's been pretty consistent, and once you hit him at 3-star, there's so much power there. And so Philip can be in contention as well. And yeah, this Camille is doing so much work. Tetra Voltex in very big danger, just dropping out in 7th.
And the fact that he went this exact comp last game and is doing it again this game, he got. I think he got second place in his first.
He did get second.
Game.
Yeah.
Game 1 he got second, and now game 2, it's possible that he does. Just take it all.
For Philip as well, and Appies is hitting his 3 stars. Like, wow.
Everyone is scaling. Everyone is rolling. Everyone just finding that best board, best in slot for those items for the composition. We'll see Philip. Now we're in his POV. 3-star Riven, 3-star Jax. Very, very good items on both.
Let's see how the Gangplank does into it, though.
Oh, that's true. He's got the guard breaker. Any shield just gives him bonus damage. The Lee Sin shield and the Riven shield. It's going to help this Gangplank all in all with the damage output, but I don't think it's going to be
about that one,
Chief.
Yeah.
The Jax just
Jack's
absolutely
too
bonking
strong.
on he's just bonking on everyone's heads.
I mean, it's the combination of those two. Like, look at the two standing alone there at the end. It's the Riven and the Jax. I mean, the item comp is just primo. It's Chef's Kiss, exactly what you want them to be on those carries. And then just tack on Brawler 6. They're getting the double bonuses. Heart, the heart and admin bonus is probably giving a little bit to it, but this just comp is just a big meaty front line when you look at it.
It's a very awkward carousel. A lot
That
of
is really
a lot of emblems on the field.
And I do want to point out a little positioning quirk. Appies did not get his Gangplank in front of the Jax. It never got a chance to really damage the Jax. Just got the ricochets off, but that's not quite enough to take it down. And for this Jax build, doesn't have the rapid fire cannon, but if you're not you're not going to have that rapid fire cannon. This is pretty much the build you want. You just want a bunch of tankiness. You want the QSS to just allow you to actually auto attack.
Yeah.
And it gives you a bunch of beefiness, so when you're in the front line and taking damage, you're not going to die.
Ooh, okay.
Appies hits the Neela
That's
3.
a +3 bonus to damage for everyone.
Ooh, okay.
That's a +3 for everyone.
Yeah,
3%.
A little bit of a small board, though, at the time being. So, I mean, like, you're good. You're happy you have these 3 stars.
He's
even
pinging.
He's like, I don't know what to do.
He wants to ping.
The
He's
mouse.
pinging, but he doesn't want to ping.
Freaking out.
He doesn't want to ping. Oh, there it goes again.
It's trying to figure out how do I fix this. It's still a person down. It's going to throw in just the lone duplicate there. Yeah, like it's a good board state. You have a lot of beef and a lot of health in these these units, but I don't know about it.
God.
Wait a minute. That's
Wow.
a 2-star Aphelios.
Hiding back there, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. It looks like he did go for that level 8 rush. So he's not out just yet, but this Aphelios is just
It's so much.
Yeah, it's too much. Too much for a reroll comp to even handle.
Giant Slayer as well, and that's a very smart slam from Kevijo, knowing how reroll heavy the lobby is, giving that % damage bonus against the super high health targets. Although, this Neela, I mean, she has to go down eventually.
Yeah.
There's the
Oh
2
my
damage
God.
coming in from Leona.
Yeah.
So Appies will fall eventually, but
Ooh.
Tetravoltex as well going down
Yeah.
to 7th. We saw his board kind of falling off in the face of all these 3 stars, so not exactly the most surprising result there.
Yeah, just a little bit unfortunate. You do kind of wish that with all these rerolls and these 3 stars coming online, you had kind of kept pace, but that is the unfortunateness of all of this. So jumping over to Ricky in a different board state, looking towards the end game, and it looks like they're in a pretty good spot, especially
he is in pole position, 50+ gold on him as well. Absolutely rolling in gold at this point.
Yeah,
could look for a level 9 angle here.
I mean, if they win and continue the streak, it's basically level 9 sold. It's probably just going to be a slam.
Could be.
I don't know how he's going to match up in this fight against the Jax 3, Riven 3. The Riven is about to go down, but no, all the healing comes through.
The healing from second wind on top of the redemption. Is it enough, though? That is the question. Riven finally does go down. Aphelios is still hacking away, and it's going to be enough. It's going to be enough.
The stuns were just too much. Like, that's the thing about these later game comps, right? It's just stun after stun after stun, and especially if you can get your carry in there to do the damage while these stuns are hitting. That's just the difference maker a lot of this, and whoever can build those up faster does a lot. There's the Alistair 3, though, on the side for Spartan, and that's huge. That comp finally still hanging in there, coming to life is huge.
The Ginsu's Rageblade as well coming in super clutch there with that beefy of that just super extended fight against how beefy the brawlers are. It gives so much time for that Rageblade to stack up, allow Aphelios to get out that damage, allow him to get multiple casts.
Yeah, we're getting another look at Ramkev's board into that Zac round.
I mean, a lot of this just depends on the positioning of Camille at this point, right? Like, we're at the point where, like, you just have to read the lobby correctly, figure out who your matchup. This is one of those times where I almost wish we would have a Zephyr. Like, you almost want this comp with a Zephyr just so you can be like, hey, where do I need to put this and what do I need to keep an eye on? Because that is going to be your difference maker, is just winding up this Camille in the right spot. Your front line's obviously fine. You're doing really well. It's just that is really the difference maker, I think, with this comp.
Yeah, and this is how it always goes with these assassin-type comps. You're trying to manage your matchups and trying to see, who can I go into wrong side and still win? Who do I absolutely need to position for? How many players are on each side? So it becomes kind of a guessing game, but also there's a lot of skill involved to knowing where you exactly want to put the Camille. And so he is going to go the right side for this fight, goes up against
That's a good choice.
Ricky.
Right choice.
But I don't know if it is because it didn't hit the Aphelios, which has the items on it.
That's true.
But it does take out a carry, but I'm pretty sure
If it takes
it's
out the Urgot before it casts, Urgot does get the cast off, so kind of a useless positioning there. But if this takes out Aphelios,
I don't think it'll matter. Yeah, at this point, he has that positioning where if the Camille doesn't go on one side, the Talon can go on the other.
There's threats across that board. It's just insane.
You're essentially checkmating your opponent.
Yeah.
And we'll see.
Oh,
we got our top 4.
We got top 4.
We got our top 4. Philip and Jason both going down, but unfortunately Jason dies harder than Philip.
2 points. That's a shame.
By 2 points, yes.
That's rough. Now that we're at top 4, though, again, looking across the board at these comps, there's a 2-star Urgot popping up, too. That's a huge, huge gain.
Everyone playing for points at this point.
Yeah, now it's just points. A lot of these players already in a good spot, especially Spartan sitting down on, near the end, possibly going out here. this is where we start to see these kinds of balance out a little bit more.
Yep,
So
frantically.
still important to get as high as you can.
Positioning.
This is a crucial top 4 for Appies and Kevijo. Appies actually got 5th in this first game. Kevijo especially, I called that out before the game. He got
here we
yeah,
go.
8th
Appies
in his
versus
first game.
Ramkev.
The TTP Civil War.
Appies could go down here if he does lose this matchup. We'll see if he's able to win or just at the very least
The
tank
Camille
enough.
gets taken out.
Camille does get taken out. The supers
Talon's
are just
out.
absolutely going
Wow.
ham. No anti-heal for this Neela, and it's just providing so much support for the team. And the ricochet
Comes
going
in
to be
huge.
enough, and he takes him
Wow, he
out.
takes him out. He gets him there.
He takes him out.
Ricky Zigzag taking it as well. That could mean he goes out in 3rd.
And Kevy Zoe is in pole position. He's on fire this late into the game.
He's taking the Wukong one, because sure, yeah.
Sure. Yes.
Look, that's just look.
Oh
We talked about the
my
land BM,
God.
but here it is. I mean, the supers came online. We were looking at all these a couple of these players picking up supers, and this is kind of what you were looking at to be. This is why down in the earlier range, in 7 and 8, where it didn't quite come together. That's what you need to do. Is
Alright.
how it's difference between these comps.
It's going to be Ricky versus Zigzag. Ricky Zigzag versus Appies. Sorry about that. Anyway,
This is a
here
fight
we
for
go.
second place.
This is for the
is for
second
2.
place position. A crowd is starting to form around Appies. All eyes are on him to keep himself alive. Zigzag, can he take him out?
There's the buff.
It looks dead even. The Ascensions are coming in. The first aid trying to do as much utility as possible,
Oh
but
my
suddenly
God,
everyone is gone.
No.
Appy stays alive. And he takes out
13,000.
Zigzag as well. Kevy Zhou and Appy's both on fire. They are red hot coming into this carousel.
13,000 from that gangplank. Just an unprecedented number. It's really great playing from that, recognizing that there's a lot of frontline beef that needs to get talked through. So, I mean, what's the play here? Like, how do you topple the first place out?
Oh, he gets,
I don't know if
He
you
gets the
can, to be
cloak.
fair. This might just be the end of the road for Appies. Oh, you took the
He does get the
niche
cloak.
augment.
Okay.
yeah,
gets
he
cloak.
does get the
Yeah.
cloak for the Ionic Spark. Try to give
yeah.
that gangplank a little extra damage. Now it's all about positioning. The Malphite does roll a shroud off the Thief's gloves.
I mean,
This
But
is
is it
so
enough?
rough.
But
yeah.
is it
This is
enough?
bold, yeah.
That is the question we have right now. They are all combined. I heard a very loud scream. Something is happening. We'll see what happens here. This is the final fight.
that's another pool. Oh, that's a shame we don't have that.
Something happened over there, but I don't think it's in our
It's
lobby.
not
But
our
the
game,
shroud
yeah.
covers everyone here. 35% mana cost increase. But is it going to be enough? SpicyAppies, he needs this win. He needs to keep himself in at least close to that top 4 position. He got 5th game number 1, and he's clapping back with this game number 2. So far, every one of his team
Second
is
stun.
Appies. He's doing a lot of work, but this Aphelios, he gets the shred off, but it's not going to be enough damage.
Oh my God!
Wow.
He stays
he hangs
alive
in.
another
legendary
round,
board.
and he's going to just hack him down. They are at about the same amount of HP, 14 and 13 respectively.
Takes
This
out
is
Kevin
getting
one life.
this is getting so tense.
I mean-
I kind of wrote him off just looking at the legendary board. Kevijo hits a Janna 2 now, which could make a difference, although it is going. Although no shroud off
Yeah,
the
no shroud is
Thieves
important.
Glove.
No shroud off the
that's
Thief's
really
glove. That
important.
might
Yeah.
might change everything.
I think that's what really made the difference and what allowed Appies to take that fight. And with no shroud this time, I don't know if Appies
know
can
if it
actually
works,
do
yeah.
this,
All right,
especially
positioning
with another
needs to be
legendary
perfect. The
upgrade.
items are there. The positioning, again, needs to be perfect here. Kevy Zhou trying something new, trying to put this Aphelios on the other side. The Sedge stun going to cover every
It
one
hits
of
everyone.
Appies' team. The Leona laser taking
Gets
out
one.
the Malphite early. This Aphelios still needs to do damage, but Gangplank, he's going to get laser
The
now.
Leona.
But the Leona goes down. Appies keeps his
That's it.
Gangplank alive for a little bit longer, but he
That's it.
just couldn't pump out enough damage, and the adjustment from Kevy Zhou will be enough for him to clap back in game number 2.
I mean, it was a great run back, and definitely from game 1. Second place is nothing to schnock at, but really just across this lobby was just incredible. I mean, there was some incredible decision-making and talents and reads from across all
That
these
was-
players. So round 3 is going to be insane.
It's going to be insane. This is probably one of the most important games
Yeah.
of this tournament.
I mean,
and-
what do we cut? We're cutting after round 3, right, too?
I think
Yeah,
so,
we
yeah.
got to 24, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to cut this lobby this tournament about half. So
Yeah.
24 players still going to be alive, but for now. That was game number 2, and this is getting really, really competitive.
This is spicy.
Yeah,
This is a spicy
This is
set.
spicy. That was a really close match.
Yeah.
We've seen Appies almost taking it away, and for now, I'm not sure if we're gonna go.
No, we're gonna go to a break.
Yeah, I think we're gonna go to a
We're
break.
gonna go to a
and
break. We'll see some new casters in here.
We'll see
and
game number
we'll
3.
get you in game 3.
Don't go anywhere.
Take it easy.